After spending 2 full videos just talking about the best and the worst episodes, I wanted to do something else. No more episodes, no more comparing polls and opinions of the community. I just want to make a video talking about a character in the show and see where it goes. Similar to what I did with my video about Celestia a little while ago. But what character should I talk about then? I don't want to do Luna because that would be too similar, and talking about any of the main 6 would likely quickly go too much in depth for these silly types of videos. So then what? Do I just grab a random background pony and talk about the maybe 3 appearances they've had throughout the show? Well, yeah, actually, that's exactly what I'm going to do. I grabbed every single character we see in the show and put them together in a wheel. And before you leave a comment, yeah, he's truly on his YouTube Shorts arc, I know, don't worry. Anyways, a wheel with a total of 668 ponies and non-ponies looks something like this. So let's just give it a spin, and whichever character it lands on, we'll see how much I can yap about them. And if I run out of things to say, we'll just spin the wheel again. And it looks like our first character is Inky Rose. And for those of you who might not remember, Inky Rose is one of the goth characters from the season 8 episode Fake It Till You Make It that Fluttershy helps while running Rarity's boutique. Wait, what do you mean this isn't her first appearance? Honest Apple in season 7? Alright, calm down. So, it turns out Inky Rose has a much more significant appearance that I just completely forgot about. Season 7, Episode 9, Honest Apple. AKA that one episode where Applejack somehow ends up judging a fashion contest and then is way too honest so she upsets all the contestants, including Inky, to the point they drop out. And besides those appearances, there's honestly not that much more to talk about. It's really nice to see some different fashion styles in the show for once though. After all, up to this point, we've basically only ever seen very shiny and very fancy looking dresses. If I'm not mistaken, Inky Rose is also quite popular in the fandom because of that. And it's a goth pony, and I know what you are. Plus, I do have to say, when they actually hold their fashion show towards the end of the episode, Inky's designs look really cool. Especially this second one with the hoodie. I could genuinely see some pony wear this in everyday life, as opposed to just a one-off dress to some fancy party you're attending. Regardless, I think that's quite enough about Inky, so let's grab the wheel again and see who our second random character is. And yes, now that Inky is gone, the pattern of the wheel is messed up. Yes, I see it, and no, I won't change it. Ooh, awesome! Now this is some pony I can yap about. After all, I've already made a full video on the Wonderbolts before. But for the sake of also wanting to go through some more characters in this video, I'll at least try to restrain myself. Fleetfoot might actually be one of the most interesting Wonderbolts that isn't talked about nearly enough in my opinion. Like, everyone knows about Captain Spitfire and her unofficial second-in-command, Soren, but Fleetfoot seems to actually be the secret weapon of the group. After all, in her very first introduction during the Season 2 episode Sweet and Elite, she immediately wins the Wonderbolts Derby. Now, some of you Fleetfoot doubters might say that that was just a one-off or beginner's luck. However, in Season 4, during the episode Rainbow Falls, where we see all of them try out for the Equestria Games, Fleetfoot is part of the Cloudsdale team. Knowing how competitive the Wonderbolts are, I highly doubt they'd put Fleetfoot on the team if she wasn't one of the fastest 3. Also, for something that is definitely related, did you guys know that Fleetfoot has a massive crush on Big Mac? In one of the comics, we see a panel where she crashes after dodging some fireworks and accidentally bumps into him, only to immediately fall in love and imagine their whole life together. Like, she was planning ahead too. Full maritime adventures, a proposal, followed by being wed by Princess Celestia, and growing all together with 2 kids. Only to be taken away right after by Nurse Geneva Convention because she had a concussion. She makes some more appearances in the second part of the comic, and even fights another pony for also having a crush on Big Mac, and imagining a whole different life together as secret agents. And yes, in case you haven't noticed yet, the comics are wild. Anyways, beyond that, Fleetfoot doesn't actually have that many interesting appearances. She's usually just there whenever the Wonderbolts appear, which usually happens during a Rainbow Dash episode. Though, during Newbie Dash, we do learn that her original nickname when joining the Wonderbolts was Flatfoot. And with that, I think it's time to move on to our third character of the day. And the lucky pony is... Cherry Fizzy. Wait, who's that? Oh my. Well, hello there. So, Cherry Fizzy is one of the recurring background ponies that we see throughout the show. They first appear as early as the 3rd episode of Season 1, but they only really have 2 actually interesting appearances in the entire season. Those being in episode 21, where they appear to be part of the Appaloosan settlers, and in the Cutie Mark Chronicles, where he pushes out the cart with Spike's egg on it during Twilight's flashback. So basically, it's this dumbass fault that we had to deal with 9 seasons of Spike. Had he just picked a different cart with a different dragon egg on there, we might have had a much better dragon companion. That's gotta be some negative points towards his attractiveness score. So, we know he likely lives in Appaloosa and works at Celestia's school, but as the show goes on, we see much more of this multi-talented stallion. In season 2, we also learn that he's pretty strict, being mean to Derpy in the Heartswarming Eve episode when she tries to peek behind the curtain of the play. Then, during the Perfect Stallion song, we learn that he has a girlfriend, Cherryberry. But even though they both have cherry-themed names and cutie marks and would likely fit perfectly together, I'm sure she's just a beard. Anyways, throughout the seasons, Cherry Fizzy makes multiple appearances in Ponyville, Appaloosa, Canterlot, and even Manehattan at some point, seemingly being familiar and known in all of those places. So, how is that possible? You know what? I think in order to explain this, I might need some help from—
That's right, it's me again! Who's ready for some very, very real conspiracies? So, this Cherry Fizzy hottie is living in Appaloosa, while also being active in Ponyville, Canterlot, and Manehattan? I think it's quite obvious what's going on here. He has to be a time traveler with hypnotic powers, there's no other option! Just think about it. We see him work at Celestia School when Twilight was just a filly, but now when she's grown up herself, Mr. Fizzy over here is looking the exact same. And even towards the end of the show, when we see him in The Lost Problem, you'd expect he'd have more grey mane already, right? But no, bro is fit as ever, even moving around Celestia's throne like it's no big deal. So the only explanation is that he's actually a time traveler, maybe even from the future. Wait, that actually makes so much sense! After G4 ends, we know Equestria is going to shit with all the magic being sealed away, which is what caused all of G5 to happen after all. So, as that was all going down, he probably just stole Dr. Hooves' time machine to relive all the important moments in Twilight's life. That would explain why he just happened to be working at the CSGU entrance exams during the one day that it was Twilight's turn. And how did he get hired? Well, that's where his hypnotic powers come into play, of course. It's all coming together now. He just made sure to hypnotize whichever HR pony was doing the job interviews to make sure he got hired. Wait, would Celestia even have an HR department? Or, since every pony is, well, ponies, should it be pony resources instead? But PR is already another department. Equine resources wouldn't really work for the same reason either. Alright, I need some time to think more into this. So, make sure to tune in next time where we discuss if Celestia might be a tyrant to her employees. For now though, I'll give the stage back to boring Lumin.
Wait, did he just call me— never mind. I don't think I could say anything else to top all of that. Although, I did come across this scene featuring Cherry Fizzy, and just— this image is just really, really funny to me. Anyway, so let's spin the wheel again and move on to our 4th pony of the list. That one being— DJ Pone 3. Or is it DJ Pony? DJ Pone? I'll just call her Vinyl or Vinyl Scratch for this section. I was honestly really surprised to learn how little appearances she actually has during the show. Season 1 only shows up for like 2 seconds during a random party scene. Season 2 only shows up for like 5 seconds during a random party scene. Season 3 only shows up for like 10 seconds during some random crowd shots. You get the idea. I'd argue that she doesn't really make any significant appearance at all until she shows up during Pinky's song rapping about the history of the Wonderbolts in Testing Testing 1 2 3. Which, I think this is also the first time we see her eyes too, right? After all, she's literally always wearing her glasses, and headphones too, which actually plays a big part in the next time she shows up. If I had to pick my favorite time Pone 3 showed up in the show, it has got to be during the second Equestria Girls movie. I still find it so funny that had it not been for Vinyl wearing her headphones the entire time, the main 6 plus Sunset would have just been trapped under the stage for the remainder of the movie. And on that note, what was she even doing? Like, she wasn't affected by the spell because she was always listening to music, sure, but she had to have noticed all of her classmates were suddenly fighting each other, right? Also, what kind of incredibly chill teachers does that school have where it's completely fine for some pony— someone to wear headphones in class all the time? I'm kind of wishing I went to their school now. Wait, I wonder what my human version looks like. Anyways, we're getting a little bit off topic here, so let's move back to the pony world for Vinyl's next appearance, which is arguably her biggest one, appearing as one of the main background ponies in Slice of Life, where we also learn about her living together with Octavia, and how much cooler her part of the house actually is. Then for the later seasons, and correct me if I'm wrong, but Vinyl kind of goes back to only having like 1 or 2 appearances per season, Although, when she does appear, it seems like it's more significant than the couple of seconds of screen time she got in the first seasons. And that also raises a question. We see her DJ basically everywhere, like at Shining Armor and Cadence's wedding, Songbird Serenade's performance during the movie, and Starlight's graduation at Twilight's castle. Which leads me to believe she's pretty famous and popular, but then she also makes a cameo in that Pinky rap song, which would be pretty weird if she was that famous. And she seems to work in that nightclub above Rarity's boutique in Manehattan, which only had like 3 guests at the time. Also, on that note, I can't be the only one who thought this was Pinky the first time I saw the episode, right? I guess Final just doesn't care about the fame and instead just works the gigs she thinks are fun. If she's famous enough to pay the bills like that, power to her, honestly. Also, please let me know if you'd be interested in a part 2 of this. After all, in this video, I only managed to cover 5 out of the 668 ponies on the list, meaning that theoretically I could make well over 100 parts of these kinds of videos. And then for our 5th and last pony of the video, let's see who the wheel gives us. Bag's Valet, isn't that one of the Bellhop ponies? No, not this cute one from Manehattan. The snail's retexture who carries Rarity's luggage when she's staying at Celestia's castle. And like, why is this twig of a pony working as a bellhop in the first place? I could somewhat understand it if it was at a hotel where they have elevators and those luggage carts you can push, but Celestia's castle doesn't seem to have those, and instead of having elevators, it's just a lot of stairs. Like, a lot of stairs. At this point, having such a small pony carry that much luggage up and down all the time is just cruel. As much as it pains me to say this, am starting to agree with younger Lumin about how Celestia might treat her employees. Bag's Valet again only makes a single appearance during the show, in the season 2 episode Sweet and Elite, when Rarity is staying at the royal castle. And I can only assume that the reason he never appeared again after this was because he was crushed by the weight of Rarity's luggage when she left again. May he rest in peace.